Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. It's Jason. I hope you're doing well. So, the World Series is over. 2020 champions, the LA Dodgers. Congratulations on a very, very well-deserved championship. The first one in 32 years, since 1988. They beat the Tampa Bay Rays in 6 games. It was a really good World Series. I mean, good offense, good baseball, good pitching, clutch hitting. Everything was in there. There's a back and forth. But the Dodgers kind of took it over the top this year. Unlike a couple of the recent World Series where they were unable to finish the job, this time they were able to kind of change momentum and hold momentum. So they had that trade for Mookie Betts really, really, really put them over the top, in my opinion. And that's a well done by Dodgers. And congratulations to the Tampa Bay Rays for making it that far as well. But now I want to turn the focus to 2021 and go over my free agent predictions. Okay. I originally had 30 or 31 players, but there was a lot of guys I didn't want to leave out, so I'm up to 41 now. There are some guys that I did leave out, and it's mainly because of player options or team options that have not been exercised yet and stuff. So until that stuff is resolved, it doesn't really make much sense to put them on there because we really don't know whether they're going to be a free agent or not. Guys like Dylan Betances, Zach Britton, stuff like that, JD Martinez, we really don't know. So, and that's okay, but this list is pretty good for now. And by the way, first time to your channel, this channel, welcome. I hope you enjoy the content enough to come back. If you like great baseball content, then hit that subscribe button right now. This channel's for you. Hit the bell next to it because after this video, okay, I'm going to go over my predictions for their contracts. That's going to be the next video. And after that, I'm going to do it 30 and 30, okay? I'm going to go over every single baseball team, all 30 teams. I'm going to do my free agent, my off-season predictions. So what I think they should do and what I think they will do. And I'm going to break it down. It's going to be one video for each team. So whether you're an Orioles fan or Marlins or Rockies or Padres or whatever, I'm going to do your team. So be sure to hit that subscribe button now and make sure you hit the bell if you haven't yet, okay? And for those who do subscribe, let me know in the comments down below so I can personally thank you. I really appreciate your support. And my regulars, you're the best. And I want to give a shout out to Devak Shah, who's one of my regular supporters. And thanks so much for your kind and encouraging words and good feedback as well. With that, let's get to it, huh? MLB free agent predictions for 2021, okay? This is one of the videos I look forward to most every year, okay? So I'm going to start with Edwin Encarnacion. Been around for quite a while, veteran player with over 400-plus home runs. He was with the White Sox this year on a one-year deal. I think he's going to move on, and I actually think he's going to go to Baltimore on probably a one-year deal. To help give them another veteran over there to complement Chris Davis and Adley Rutschman, who's their young stud catcher who will probably be in the show. And I think, kind of as a swan song, that porch, whether it be left field or center field or right field, is perfect for his bat. And we need to see a couple more of these running around the bases as well. So, Parrot home runs. So, Baltimore Orioles. James McCann, who was a catcher with the White Sox, a solid catcher, who's really, really good at handling pitchers and solid at the plate as well, offensively. I actually have him going over to Detroit. Detroit has a stable of really young pitchers, like Casey Mize, a number 1 pick. They're going to complement guys like Matthew Voit and Michael Fulmer, who have had injuries, who are kind of on the mend and coming back. I think McCann would be a good fit to handle all those pitchers. And even though they're not going to really be competing, I think they'll make an aggressive offer, and I think he'd be a good fit, and he can also stay in the AL Central. Okay. Ken Giles, he actually is recovering from Tommy John surgery, so this is more of a, rehab him, store him for 2022. He might come back and maybe throw a little bit at the end of the season, but I have him really coming back for 2022. And a team that needs a lot of bullpen help is the New York Mets. Okay. Again, he'll be a 2022 guy. You don't really know what's going to happen with Dylan Betances. Like I said, his option. He has multiple options. I think they're per-year options. So whether it's going to be exercised or not, we don't know. And, the fact is the Mets need bullpen arms anyway. And he's been pretty solid for several years. So hopefully they'll have a solid comeback from Tommy John. Another guy who had a little bit of surgery, but not Tommy John, who has been one of the best relievers in the National League and pretty much all of baseball, is Kirby Yates. I have him going out east as well to the Philadelphia Phillies, helping to solidify that bullpen. They need another couple arms, too. They actually acquired 3 or 4 relievers at the trading deadline this year, and it just didn't pan out. Kirby Yates gives them a veteran presence who's been dominant for several years. And they have money coming off the books with Jake Arrieta and making some other moves, but the Phillies are kind of at the point, with the Padres and the White Sox, and And Cincinnati are making shrewd trades and free agent signings. They're spending a lot, so they're going to do what they can, I think, to try to help put themselves over the top. And Yates kind of gives them a nice building block for the bullpen. Anthony Rizzo, he's been a mainstay with the Cubs for a long time. He's got a winning pedigree from helping them win a championship in 2016. I actually have him staying in the Central, but I have him going to the American League, to the Cleveland Indians. Their first base / DH, Carlos Santana, is likely moving on as a free agent. He's also like 36, 37. Rizzo, I think, is 30 or 31, so it gives him some youth. And somebody who can just go right in there and play first base every day. Good lefty bat, veteran presence to help the young players, and can not only help offset Santana's production, but it can either complement Francisco Lindor, or if Lindor gets traded, become one of the the vocal leaders of the team as well. So Cleveland Indians, I think it'd be a great fit there. Freddie Galvis, veteran shortstop's been around for a while. I actually have him replacing Marcus Semien in Oakland. Not a thumper like Semien, but I have him replacing him over in Oakland to play just on a regular basis, be in their shortstop. He's got a good glove. He'll be a good fit. Robbie Grossman, veteran outfielder. I have him going to Team Milwaukee. That I think is also going to make some incremental moves on the offensive and the pitching side, in an effort to continue to try to compete. They have some. They've Yelich. You've got Hader if he doesn't get traded. A lot of young pitchers in the rotation and the bullpen. Kane. You've got some building blocks there. Okay, you can decide whether they're kind of try to really make a move or incrementally bring in some guys, and I think they're going to do that this year with bringing in Happ as well, J.A. Happ. For the rotation, so another rotation arm can go in there, maybe be another 3. I think it'll be a good candidate for a change of scenery from AL to NL. Help stabilize the rotation a little bit, and I think it'd be a good fit. And again, another incremental move by the Milwaukee Brewers. Brad Hand, who's been with the Cleveland Indians for a little bit, a couple of years, a reliable left-handed reliever. I actually have him going over to the New York Yankees, who also need bullpen help. They lost Tommy Conley to Tommy John surgery. He might be back late 2021 or likely 2022 as well. So they need another reliable arm. We don't know what's going to happen with Zach Britton. He has a team option, or I think it's a player option that has to be exercised. So there's no guarantee that he's going to be back. So we need another bullpen arm. I think I need 2 bullpen arms, whether it be 2 free agents or a free agent and maybe letting one of their young kids like Mike or King or Clark Schmidt come in the bullpen and give them a power arm. Who knows what they're going to do? But they need arms. Pitch on the starting and on the bullpen end. Okay. Jonathan Villar, kind of a do-it-all, contact, good solid player who's playing multiple positions in the infield. I think he may have even played a little bit of outfield as well. Actually having him given the Los Angeles Angels a little bit more offensive and defensive versatility. It could be a good complement. He could play some shortstop too to replace Andrelton Simmons, who I have going somewhere else. A little bit better at the bat, with the bat than Simmons. But someone to complement Trout and Ohtani and Rendon and Joe Adele and I'd like to see Trout playing a couple of postseason series, maybe even get to a World Series. So a solid player like Villar, I think, will go a long way towards helping them. Charlie Morton, he's been a kind of a god with the Tampa Bay Rays. He has a team option, which I see him exercising for one more year and then possibly retiring. He was great with Houston. He was great with Tampa Bay. I hate the fact that he's a Yankee killer, but he is. I don't have him going anywhere. I think they're going to try to finish the job that they just came short of finishing this year. So I see them keeping him around and maybe making some trades or some sort in the offseason. They always make some shrewd but successful trades. So Kevin Pillar, veteran outfielder who's with Boston for a while. I actually have him replacing Ozuna over in Atlanta. Okay, a veteran player, solid player who will complement a lot of these young guys, Albies and Acuna Jr. and stuff like that, to help solidify that offense too. And again, he comes from a winning franchise in Boston, so he knows what it's like to be in postseason. His experience in that regard, and I think he'll make the Atlanta Braves better. Jurickson Profar, this is an interesting one for me too because I have him going to Kansas City. Whit Merrifield has been their mainstay second baseman, but they also like, and a lot of them prefer him in the outfield. And he plays a lot of second base and does outfield too. So this gives him an opportunity to either move him to second and move Merrifield to the outfield or vice versa. But you're bringing another veteran. He's only 28, actually, and he's been around forever. But another solid arm in a small market, and they won't have to spend a ton, but he still has some talent, some productivity. And I think it'll be a nice complement to the Royals' defense and offense. So, Kansas City. Yadi Molina, guaranteed first ballot Hall of Fame catcher. He's been with the Cardinals for, I think, 17 years now. I know he's looking for a 2-year deal. I'm not sure he'll get it. There's a chance that he will, but more than likely it might be like a 1-year deal with an option for a second year, but who knows? I actually have him coming over to the American League and replacing Gary Sanchez in the New York Yankees. I'm a Yankee fan, I like Sanchez, but I think Sanchez is due for a change of scenery now, and he can go somewhere else. And I think, bringing Molina, who's a masterful, he's an elite defensive backstop, he's an elite at calling games, putting him behind the plate, and platooning him with Higashioka, I think it'll be a better fit moving forward. And I think the Yankees will likely either non-tender Sanchez or maybe trade him somewhere like Miami for a prospect or something. They're not going to get a boatload back from him, unfortunately, because he's way too inconsistent, but they can get a decent prospect or two back. Okay. I think Yachty would be a great fit there. Plus, in his swan song, maybe give him another chance to win a championship like he did with St. Louis. Yasiel Puig, he didn't even play this year, okay? But he's still 30, he's still talented, he's still in shape, he's fit. And, he's got a solid bat, but he's got a cannon for an arm. He's got that Jesse Barfield type arm. I actually have him being over one of the incremental pieces from the Miami Marlins. Again, a young team, surprised a lot of people this year, made the postseason. Unfortunately, didn't make it past the second round, but that's okay. They need some more pieces because a 162-game season is much different than a 60. I want to see if they can sustain what they did this past year in the longer season. They're going to need players like Puig and some other guys who need some offense and some pitching to help take them there. So I have him going to Miami, and if anybody can handle him, I think Don Mattingly can. Tommy LaStella, do-it-all utility guy. He's been with Oakland for a while. I actually have him going over to the White Sox, who Oakland eliminated in the postseason, to complement, give that lineup some versatility, and give that defense some versatility as well. It can be a good fit in Chicago. Justin Turner has been a mainstay with the Dodgers, but he's still an elite glove, actually, at third base. It was great to see him performing in the World Series. It stunk having them pull him out of mid-game yesterday because he found out he tested positive for COVID, or 2 days ago, testing positive for COVID, but it is what it is, unfortunately. I actually have him moving on and going to Toronto to replace Josh Donaldson. I don't think Toronto ever did that, okay? And Toronto actually gives them, gives them flexibility to move Vlad Guerrero Jr. over to first base because he plays third and first. I think, in my opinion, first base will probably be a little bit more of a natural position. He's a big dude, Guerrero. He's a young, elite hitter, but he's got thick legs and it may be a little bit injury prone as he gets a little bit older. So I think first base would be a little more of a better spot for him or better position. Plus, having him and Turner would be good, especially with all those other young guys, Bichette, and that lineup is going to be crazy good. James Paxton, I do not have him coming back to the Yankees. He's uber talented, but he has a hard time staying healthy. I think moving him over to the National League and so he can Cincinnati to complement guys like Sonny Gray and Luis Castillo will put him in a position. I basically have him replacing Trevor Bauer because I don't have Bauer going back there. Okay. Joining a good rotation like he did with the Yankees, in a little bit of a lower pressure environment, and hopefully he'll stay healthy. We don't really know, but we'll see. Cincinnati Reds. Michael Brantley, veteran outfielder, has been here for a while. I actually have him going to Boston. Boston, to replace Jackie Bradley Jr. And then Jackie Bradley Jr. going to Houston to replace George Springer. Okay? It's going to be an interesting offseason. I see a lot of movement. Where's George Springer going to go? You'll find out shortly. But I think these are good positions for both of them. Brantley's a good, consistent player. He's versatile, and in Boston needs a little bit of versatility to kind of reshuffling things. Not a full rebuild, but they're still rebuilding nevertheless, even though it's still some stud players that are still there. And Jackie Bradley gives Houston that offensive, versatility, but more of the defensive wizardry that, they'll need in the outfield. And he's going to have some big shoes to fill, replacing George Springer, who's been a clutch guy there, but I think if anybody can do it, he can. And with Dusty Baker there, I think he'll just be a good overall fit. Okay. Now, left side, last 21. Top 21. Nelson Cruz, I don't see him going anywhere. I see him signing another 1-year deal and popping some more home runs. As long as he can keep producing, I see Minnesota just signing him again on 1-year deals. I mean, Barry Bonds was producing late into his 40s or mid-40s, and I don't see any reason why he can't. The 1-year deal fits him perfectly. So, Andrelton Simmons, I actually have him moving to Cincinnati. He's going to be part of a versatile package that I'll talk about in a little bit. It's going to be interesting, but he's going to be one of two. He's lighter on the bat and heavier on the glove, and I have the other person lighter on the glove and heavier on the bat. But I think bringing them both together in a team again is going to give them a lot of versatility, which I think is going to be something that this team, the team needs. So stay tuned. Jock Peterson, I actually have him being one of the bigger expenditures for the Los Angeles Angels. I think they're going to invest in the offensive and the pitching end. And bringing him in, and if you bring him and Villar to complement Trout and all those other guys, that's going to make that lineup even more scary. And a left-handed offensive bat, I think, would be a good fit with most of their thumpers being right-handed. I think he'll be a really, really good fit. He's still a clutch player. He had a hell of an offseason with the Dodgers. I think he'll be a perfect fit there and allows him to stay on the West Coast. Kevin Gausman has been started with the Giants for a while, San Francisco Giants. I actually have him going to the Texas Rangers. I think they're going to spend with their new stadium, at least bring in some players. They invested in some pitching last year. They do have Lance Lynn. They traded for Corey Kluber. Things didn't really pan out the way that they wanted to, but I think they're going to bring in another arm, and I think Kevin Gausman is kind of the guy to help give them that depth that they desperately need in the rotation. Jose Quintana. And he just finished up his big contract with the Cubs. It was traded from the White Sox quite a few years ago. I actually have him being another one of those incremental pieces over in Miami, giving them another starter in the rotation, a veteran guy to complement some of the young guys. Left-handed. He goes out there every fifth day, throws, puts him in a position to contend or win. So, and again, a change of scenery over to keeping him in the National League, I think is good. Putting him in a less pressure environment. Now that he's a little bit older, I think is perfect for him. Jake Odorizzi, I have him replacing Quintana over in the Chicago Cubs. He's been with the Twins for a while, but I think he's going to move on. He accepted his qualifying offer. I think, putting him in Chicago, having him sign with Chicago where he's up there with, you got Lester and Yu Darvish and some of these other guys, he's going to be part of a stronger rotation and probably a better chance to get to the World Series. That said, in my opinion, still gonna have to go through the Dodgers. But I think he'll be a good fit in Chicago. Robbie Ray, the Yankees have tried to sign the guy for years or trade for him for years. They wanted too much. Now they can get him for just cash. Remember, he was traded at the deadline this offseason, so he cannot be given a qualifying offer if you're traded mid-season. So this is a perfect fit for him without having to fork up draft picks now or anybody. Just pay for him. And again, he's kind of a replacement for James Paxton. I don't think he's as talented, but he's a little bit more healthy, a little bit more reliable. And if he can go out and throw even 5 innings every fifth game, then we'll take that. We need a couple of guys who can do that consistently, and then maybe get another arm like Chad Green who can throw multiple innings. Even if you have one of these young guys, look what Julio Arias did with the Dodgers, one of the young guys, and look what he did in the playoffs. It's unbelievable. Taijuan Walker was also traded to Toronto. I feel like everybody was traded to Toronto. I think it's going to be another one of those pitching acquisitions or a pitching acquisition for the Los Angeles Angels. Like I said, multiple moves, some bigger acquisitions, some solid ones. So, and again, you put him in there. He's also a young power arm. They need arms to complement Dylan Bundy. They just need arms. Okay. Mike Minor, another veteran arm going to the National League and to Miami to complement Jose Quintana and some of these other guys. I think he's going to be a good fit there. Adding Yasiel Puig, adding a bat and a couple of pitchers. Again, incrementally getting better. I think that's the way that Miami's going to do that anyway because they seem to be rather frugal with expenditures. So this is a way that they can bring in several guys without breaking the bank. Okay. Masahiro Tanaka, I actually have him leaving the Yankees and going over to the Los Angeles Angels and being the other solid pitching acquisition. He'll be on the West Coast, be closer to home in Japan. I think another one who can, if you bring in him and Walker to complement Bundy, then they have a solid three there. Okay. I do have the Yankees probably making a trade for another pitcher to complement Robbie Ray. I would love for them to sign Trevor Bauer, but I don't see it happening. But they need a legitimate number two. And Tanaka wasn't a number two for them anyway. I have him going over there, maybe being a 3, maybe a 4, whatever. But he might be a 3 for them and a 4 for us. But it is what it is. Los Angeles Angels. Shane Green, solid reliever. I actually also have going to the Los Angeles Angels. Like I said, I have certain teams making just a few pretty big moves, and then I have a couple teams making several moves of solid moves, like the Angels and the Marlins and things like that. Alex Colon, who's been with the White Sox, with their closer, he's still a power arm. I actually have him going over to Boston to complement their bullpen and give them a boost to maybe become their closer. Blake Treinen, who's been with the Dodgers, I actually have him coming over to the Yankees. Okay, if the Yankees can bring in him and Brad Hand, great. It's been too much inconsistency in their bullpen. If they can bring in one free agent and make a trade, great. If they can bring in a free agent and bring up one of their young guys, great. They need 2 fresh arms in the bullpen, either way. Liam Hendricks, I actually have him going to Chicago and competing for closer or becoming their new closer. I forgot the guy who was with Boston and went over there, signed a big deal. It didn't really pan out. I forgot his name for some reason. But they need another bullpen arm and power arm. I have a feeling they're going to spend on pitching this offseason, the Cubs. So, pleasantly surprising team, too. They still have the pieces to contend. Do I think they should trade 1 or 2 guys? Yes. But that said, they might not. If they don't, they should invest in pitching. Okay? Now we're down to 7. Let me see if I can come up here. There we go. I didn't want to decapitate myself before. Okay? Didi Gregorius. Remember I said that funky combination over in Cincinnati? He's the other guy to complement Andrelton Simmons. It gives them versatility, multiple positional versatility. Simmons can maybe move over. But now they have good defense and 2 rather younger players who can still run, who have good veteran qualities, and I think both of them coming to Cincinnati will give the teams a boost that it was missing last year. And again, they spent a lot. I don't see them stopping. Marcell Ozuna, I actually have him going over and becoming Washington's big expenditure this offseason. Okay, bringing in him to play in the outfield. They made a lot of incremental moves last year, but they didn't really pan out, obviously, because they were last place. But they still have a lot of pieces. They're pitching heavy. I think he'll be a good fit over in Washington. They need a boost on the offensive side. DJ, Yankees. If Cashman doesn't bring him back, I think people are going to be rioting in the streets, just burning stuff down. Let's just, priority number 1 right there. Get him back, okay? Priority number 2, get a 1A or a number 2 starter. But this has to happen. And if I was Cashman, I'd be calling the guy at 5:01 Sunday. What do you want? What can we do to get you back here? We want you back. That was the team MVP the last 2 years. One of the best hitters in the American League and Major League Baseball. Batting champ. Good veteran player. Solid, hard-nosed player. Just a blue-collar dude. Need more guys like him, the Yankees. Marcus Semien, I have him replacing Didi in Philadelphia. Thumper, again, to complement that lineup, which I think is going to be making a little bit of a change. But, again, Didi played well for them. But I think, another right-handed complement there when Didi moves on. I think it'd be a good fit to go right in and replace him. George Springer, I think he's going to be the one big expenditure for the New York Mets. Steve Cohen, uber billionaire owner, he's going to come in. I think he's going to want to make some noise right away. And bringing a guy like George Springer in there would be a hell of a way to introduce yourself. Again, a clutch player. That offense needs a player like him to complement their strong starting rotation. You bring in Springer, and then it's a different ballgame for the Mets. Okay, Trevor Bauer. I initially had him also going to the Mets, and I would not be surprised if they did that, but I actually think the White Sox are going to make a big play for him. They need a horse. He is a horse, okay? And if they bring in a Bauer and, some of these other moves, I think they're going to be really, really, really hard to beat in the American League. And last but not least, JT Realmuto. There's one team I haven't mentioned yet, and they've spent a lot in the last couple seasons. They made some big trades last couple seasons as well, and they just haven't gotten over the hump, although they made the postseason. San Diego Padres. They need a catcher. They need a veteran catcher, okay? And they need another boost to their offense. That's exactly what JT Realmuto does. He can handle a pitching staff, and now they've got Mike Clevenger as part of their pitching staff. I think he's probably one of the missing pieces for the Padres to either catch or surpass the Dodgers. The Dodgers are the world champs, so they're going to have to be dethroned. They have a lot of players there, and they also have David Price coming back, who opted out of this year, didn't even play. But you bring in a JT Realmuto, that changes the lineup pretty significantly. Okay? And again, I have other teams making some trades to replace players and blah, blah, blah. You never know what's going to happen, really, but these are my predictions. Let me know what you think. Put your feedback in the comments down below. If you agree, if you like them, whatever it is, I don't care. But be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet before you leave. Okay? And I hope you enjoyed this. And be on the lookout for those next videos because they're coming. Talk to you then.